Hey there, guys. Nick PC Guy here with the news in tech and gaming for the week. As you can see, still quite busy with the moving stuff for the new house, shelves, and everything. It's going, I guess. Hopefully, it'll be done this week. Check the video if you haven't yet about how it's going if you're interested. As for the news in the actual tech, we do have some interesting things to report this week. Tweakers has leaked a roadmap with the Intel expected products for the next couple of years. It's supposedly been taken from a Dell presentation sometime earlier this year, and it is not that interesting, to be honest. I mean, it is interesting, but it's not that amazing. Because as we can see, the only 10 nanometers products that we see are this one, Tiger Lake, and that's pretty much about it. So this is the 25, 15 to 28 watts WBG. Anyway, not to go into too much technical stuff. This is basically mobile stuff like desktop, not desktop, but laptop platforms on 10 nanometers. And it does not look like we are going to see 10 nanometers on our desktop computers anytime soon, at least not before 2021. So I guess we should just hope that AMD does perform well on 10 nanometer of their Zen 2 architecture, because it does not look like from the Intel side of things there is going to be a whole lot of improvement in the upcoming 2 to 3 years. So let's hope that AMD picks up the ball and that we actually see some improvement. Otherwise, we will probably just see a couple more cores and a little bit of a frequency increase on the turbo boost on Intel CPUs, and that's about it for improvements on the next several years as far as processors go. Also, some research report has surfaced about how about 20 million PC gamers are expected in the near future to stop gaming on the PC altogether and to switch their gaming hobby to, they call it TV gaming platforms, aka consoles, I guess. Unless they also mean stuff like the upcoming Google Stadia and such. But yeah, this report is. I don't even know what to say about this report. I think it's massively skewed, and I don't think there's any ground to it. I don't know what methods they used for the research, but pretty sure that is not going to be the case. There's just so much stuff on PC that is relevant and you cannot find on consoles that yeah, not to mention the fact you can also use your PC as an actual workstation, and you cannot do that with a console. And that's just one of the many points that I would like to say, that the PC is vastly superior. Quality sliders that you usually don't find on the consoles to balance performance with quality and all that sort of stuff, and all the higher FPS stories and all that sort of things that make me think this story really holds no water. And honestly, I don't really think it does. But I thought it would be funny to mention because, yes, 20 million people are just about to switch gaming from the PCs. Sure, they are. Speaking of stuff that you usually find on PCs that is usually said to be a major advantage are digital stores like Steam and Epic Games lately. Although I cannot say I'm very partial to Epic Games, I have not experienced their store yet, but people say that it misses some critical features. Anyway, the owner from Epic Store uh, has claimed that if Steam were to reduce the cut that it charges developers to put their games on Steam, which can be up to 30% as opposed to 12% on the Epic Game Store. They claim that they would just release all the exclusive Epic Store exclusive games and make them purchasable on Steam. Now, this is probably a bit of posturing. A part of me wishes Steam actually did that just to call their bluff and see what happened. It would be kind of funny. But yeah, it's mostly posturing if you ask me, and I'm not sure if they would actually do it. But it's always nice to have a bit of publicity for yourself and putting yourself in the news, I guess. But yeah, it is interesting for the developers to get more income for their work, and that's what happens if there's a lower cut on stores like Steam and Epic, and that's the one advantage that I can see why developers are putting their games on Epic, because they get more revenue out of their games that way instead of having to pay a huge chunk to the store itself. And while that is beneficial for the game developers, I do understand that. Not so beneficial for the consumers in the sense that you end up paying the same for the game. It's not like the game is cheaper because it's on Epic and not on Steam. And Epic does have less features on its platform than Steam does. So yeah, there's always that. And while on topic of hot air, Nvidia seems to also have been a bit full of hot air on their release from the GTX 1650. The drivers, the press drivers that are usually given out to reviewers that have review samples of the cards to, do some reviewing, some testing, benchmarking before the card launches, so that there are reviews when the card actually launches for people to make an informed decision. Those press drivers were withheld from the reviewers, so no one could really review the product until they actually release the driver to the public on the launch day, and that means that the testing still needs to be done then after the launch. And it's probably for many media outlets there were no reviews out for the first day or so, so people had no information of how good or bad the product was. Turns out that the product is not good, and that is probably the reason that Nvidia did not release the drivers, to try to avoid the bad reviews from influencing people on those first few hours slash days of not being able to know if the product was good or not. Turns out the 1650 Ti is being beaten in most games by the Radeon 570, which is a several-year-old graphics card, which is also cheaper. So yeah, it does not really look great for the product, to be quite honest. And worse than that, just the practice of hampering reviews, of actively trying to stop reviews from being published, at least for the first few hours, that kind of goes against what Nvidia has done in the past times, which is to provide people with the means to test the products and to do reviews before the product is launched. But yeah, it is what it is, really, and they can afford to do that for now because they are the top dog for now. But we'll see how it goes in the future with Navi, hopefully being announced or revealed or even immediately released in a couple of months. In a few other news, and yes, this has been filmed at another time of the day. Intel has announced that the CPU shortage that they currently are experiencing in the basically not being able to keep up with the production is expected to last until at least the third quarter of 2019, so until the end of this year, most likely. This should be solved by Intel having invested heavily into ramping up the production, and also should be solved by a number of pre-built computer manufacturers starting to go with AMD processors, which is certainly an interesting way to end the Intel CPU shortage by not using Intel anymore, I guess. So yeah, not so great news for Intel in this aspect, but this is what they have reported. On the subject of Navi this time, leaked PCB has been spotted around the internet. It's not really known yet what model of Navi it is, but it seems to be fairly higher end of the Navi product line. And excuse me for reading, but I don't have all the specs in my head memorized. It is leaked PCB that features GDDR6 memory, as well as a 256-bit bus for that memory for next gen Radeon, so that would be the Navi. It seems to be a replacement that would be around the RX 580, 590 range, well, on the 600 series or whatever they will name it, but it will be on that range, and it will be 7 nanometer as we already knew, and it seems to have spots for 8 DRAM packages. So again, it seems to be a bit on the higher end. It is an early concept of the PCB, so again, cannot say for sure what model it will be precisely. And yeah, we are looking, as far as display connectors are concerned, it seems to have a single HDMI as well as a USB Type C. could have other connectors so far, but this is the ones that are spotted there. And as far as power delivery, it seems to have spots for two PCIe connectors, be them 8 or 6 power. We don't know, that depends on the board manufacturers that will pick up the board, obviously. But the fact that it has two power connectors seems to indicate as well that it is a bit of a higher end board that is being designed on this PCB. Again, it's a leak of a very early stage product. What can we take out of it? Not much, other than it's there, it's in production. And on the topic of AMD and Navi, although it's not exactly about Navi, the anniversary edition of a certain parts of AMD products are here. It is now the 50th anniversary of AMD, and they have released a special edition of the Ryzen 7 2700X. I believe it has the same, same core count, same frequency, all that sort of stuff. It's just an anniversary edition with a special boxy, and it is signed, and autograph, and all this sort of thing. And they also have an actual special edition and anniversary cooler, as well as, I believe, a motherboard and a graphics card, also with different, color schemes and all that sort of thing. But performance-wise, there's no change. It's literally just a cosmetic anniversary edition to commemorate the 50th anniversary of AMD. Now, these were the tech news for the week. I have not followed in gaming what's been happening, to be quite honest, because as you can understand, I don't really have an enormous amount of time. Still have a lot of stuff to move, and I will actually be doing a lot of moving today. I will be living with bare basics for about a week, just bed, fridge, stove, TV, and PC, and not much else. Because I'm still waiting for the internet to be installed. If you have not watched the video on my moving process, although we do have fiberglass in the house, there was no fiberglass on the street yet. So someone has to be coming and installing all the proper cabling and all this sort of thing. Um, and yeah, I'm not even sure if I'll be having fiberglass at the very start or if only later down the line. So yeah, I'll have to be seeing when I can move, because it's not just that I could live for a week easy without internet, but also no phone, no TV, no nothing, and I am on vacation, so I would just be kind of really bored, to be honest, if I couldn't do anything at all for a week, and that would also mean no content for you guys for a week. So I'll stay here for another week, and hopefully this time next week you will be seeing the first episode of Attic PC Guy News in Tech and Gaming from the new house. And yeah, I'll see you guys then.